Let's get more from the diary editor of The Spectator, James Heale. So, look, Unison came out saying that there were constructive talks yesterday, and yet the RCN bitterly disappointed. The truth always is somewhere in the middle, probably.
Yes, it is. When we've been talking in the last few months or so, ministers have had this line that they can't intervene in these pay disputes, and that it's between independent pay review bodies and the sectors involved. Now there seems to be a bit of a shift in rhetoric. I think both sides have kind of backed down from their previous positions, and now there does seem some willingness to kind of talk about how this might work. One form of discussion being talked about is the possible backdating pay from the start of the calendar year rather than the financial year in April. That would allow 3 months extra salary for people and nurses, etc. Or the other thing might be to talk about some kind of one-off payment system just to tide them over, given the financial challenges they're now facing.
I suppose all of that ties into, before Rishi Sunak was saying that we couldn't do these pay rises because it would be inflationary. Would this be a workaround for that?
Yes, it would. I mean, it depends what position you take on this. So the unions want to take the view that, look, our members are suffering now. We therefore want them to take with account of inflation when it's in double digits. The government wants to start from next financial year, when inflation is expected to be halved to 5%. So therefore they will be working on calculations which would have put the level of inflation at less, and they have to pay less money. The truth is it'll be somewhere in the middle, probably.
Well, there never is the truth. So here's the truth. I'm going to speculate what the truth is, right? The truth is that Sunak says there's no crisis in the NHS. It's not on its knees or whatever. And then someone has said, Prime Minister, you better look at this file. If we have any more strikes, if we have any more disruption in the NHS, believe me, it ain't going to be here by the summer. And suddenly they become all conciliatory and they say, oh, funny, we've got more money and we've got more little goodies to tempt you with and whatever. So why do you think, James, I mean, call me a cynic if you want, but there is always a reason for offers being made. What's your reading?
I think the polling's held up reasonably well in favour of the health workers and the unions. But I think also there is a kind of recognition of the hardship that's been going on, and I think that there was always going to be pressure to compromise. I mean, there were some MPs came out and said it in sort of November, December. Some were privately saying we should have settled before, that we should work towards a compromise because that was always the way things are going to go. I think that the unions have slightly shifted their position. The government has as well. And I think there's also the realisation that, the capacity is certainly needed, as we saw in yesterday's debate in the House of Commons.